11 points. The mayor of Boulder added 4 rebounds, an assist, and 2 steals in the victory. With big man Elijah Malone being the only senior being celebrated for the black and gold tomorrow, it will have to be seen if the former NAIA National Player of the Year can do something similar.
All right, everybody, it's time for Tweet of the Week. This one comes directly to the university on sponsorships. Earlier this week, Buffalo Wild Wings tweeted at CU suggestion ABW's patch on Colorado jerseys. New AD Fernando Lobo hit back saying, "We're always open for business."
That's about all that we have for you guys this week. We hope you've all enjoyed your show and that you, we hope that you all enjoyed the show and that you continue to stay warm as we see some colder weather through the weekend. We'd also like to remind you here that we are getting ready to head into daylight savings. Make sure you set your clocks, and we hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And remember, Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another week of Scope Up Sports Live. My name is Zachary Giesenslaw.
I'm Gia Henriken.
We've had a wonderful week of sunny skies and high temperatures here in Boulder, just to be hit with a bunch of snow and cold this morning. So we hope you're all staying warm at home.
We do have a lot to cover, so let's get straight into it.
We begin tonight with some solemn news from Boulder this week. On March 1st, 2026, Buffalo's backup quarterback Dominique Ponder tragically passed away. 23-year-old Ponder was pronounced dead at the scene after allegedly losing control of his vehicle and striking an electrical pole. It was announced on Friday that Ponder's memorial service will be held tomorrow, March 7th at noon. This service is open to the public and will be located at the Glenn Miller Ballroom on campus. Harrison Simeon has more on this developing story.
No one expected Colorado's spring season to start here. A curve of baseline road, flayed with mangled metal, splintered wood, and charred grass. CU quarterback Dominique Ponder was killed here early Sunday morning after a single car crash. He was 23 years old, about to begin his third season with the Buffaloes.
Colorado State Patrol said that while headed west towards Boulder, Dominic lost control of his vehicle, crossed into the opposing lane of traffic, went through this barricade before hitting an electrical pole in this place.
It fell into an embankment before catching fire. High speed is suspected. A week usually bubbly with optimism is now heavy with grief.
You know, he's a quarterback, so it's kind of sad not being able to protect him off the field, but it's going to make me do everything to protect my quarterbacks I have left on the field.
New offensive coordinator Brennan Marion grew up in the same Pittsburgh neighborhood as Dominique, sharing a work ethic he'll remember every morning.
You see somebody every day, every morning. We meet every day at 5:30, 5 o'clock, so we'll just save a spot for him in the room.
His dedication was infectious, but so was his smile.
I mean, that was my locker buddy. Like, we were next to each other lockers. I mean, like I said, that was my best friend. So, honestly, word to describe him is just joyous. Like, he's never down, always great energy.
Coach Deion Sanders called an emergency meeting after news broke, allowing his players to decide whether to practice on Monday. They did it for Dom.
Some of the players, this is the first time that they've dealt with losing someone. And you got to respect that. So I'm advising our coaching staff, we're going to push them on the field, but we're going to love them just as hard.
The Buffs will wear jersey patches this season to memorialize Ponder. They'll have him on their hearts for the fall, but forever remember him for the sanctuary they shared, football.
We got to be there for each other, got to keep working. We still got a goal, still got a mission, and this is just another why. You know, for some of the guys that, you know, maybe think that their why isn't as significant, stuff like that, that's your why now, you know.
Harrison Simeon, Scope Up Sports.
1, 2, 3, go! Let's go.
Thank you for that, Harrison. The women's basketball team is in the middle of an exciting Big 12 tournament run, and our Scope Up's crew made the trek to Kansas City this week. Here's our own Jake Chow with the latest.
Here from Kansas City, Missouri, it should really be called Upset City. You can see the bracket. So many higher seeds have fallen in the past 2 days. TCU and Colorado, the lone teams with byes to get wins in the past 2 days. Arizona State really getting a good upset against Iowa State yesterday. And Kansas State, one of the hottest teams in the tournament right now, broke a long-standing 3-point record and is the first 12 seed to make the Big 12 tournament semifinals. An absolutely electric environment. We're going to take you out to the court here as we talk a little bit more about the Big 12 picture. Now, Colorado has a tough matchup against Baylor later today, and Arizona State and Iowa State are facing off here in just about an hour. And Colorado and Baylor have faced earlier this season in a really close game, and all of the coaches have said how much they love the parity of the Big 12, noting that it's one of the best conferences in the nation. And that's been a big part of the Big 12's reason to get some of the glass court behind me here. Now, the glass court, some of the players have noted that they've been slipping a little bit. They miss playing on the hardwood, but it's been really immersive for players and fans alike. Ads revenue coming on during timeouts, the brackets, and then, of course, the LED displays that have shown the court and their teams as they're doing player introductions have just been absolutely electric. And you can see here as I come out near the T-Mobile Center and the new LED courts, it is absolutely incredible. You can see here behind me as some of the teams are warming up for this next game between West Virginia and Arizona State. The winner of this match will play Colorado and Baylor. As the bracket is beginning to shape up a little bit, Kansas State and TCU will play for the first spot tomorrow in the Big 12 Tournament Championship game, which will be played on Sunday. BYU fell earlier today, so there will be no Monday finals. But the Big 12 tournament is really shaping up to be a battle of teams that have been kind of underlooked. As you look at Kansas State looking for their bid in March, should they win the Big 12 tournament. And Colorado on the bubble. Kansas was on the bubble, who was a team that was battling yesterday with Colorado. BYU was on the bubble, as I mentioned them earlier. They lost earlier today, however. And the Big 12, again, one of the best, showing why it's one of the best leagues in the nation. But I'll send it back to you guys at the desk. I've been Jake Chow here from the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri. You heard it here first.
The House of Payne will stay standing as the University of Colorado extended women's head coach J.R. Payne's contract through 2031 with a unanimous vote by the Board of Regents on Wednesday. Payne is in her 10th season as the Buffaloes women's basketball head coach and has a 164-116 all-time record at CU. Payne hopes to continue her success with athletes on and off the court for the next 5 years. The women's Hoopers also landed 4 all-conference honors. Jade Masagaya made the All-Big 12 second team after a solid senior season. Ziana Walker is on the All-Big 12 defensive team for the second consecutive year. She was also an all-conference honorable mention alongside fellow guard Desiree Wooten. Lastly, forward Logan Greer was named to the All-Big 12 freshman team.
Looking at Colorado's men's basketball, sophomore forward Sebastian Ranchik will probably miss the Buffs' senior day contest against number 2 ranked Arizona on Saturday, according to head coach Tad Boyle. The Boulder Daily Camera's Pat Rooney reported that the skilled Slovakian suffered an injury during practice just before the Buffs beat Utah in Salt Lake City on Tuesday night. While Boyle said Ranchik was day-to-day after the game, not disclosing the injury, he said the 6'10" forward will probably miss the contest against the Wildcats when asked at Thursday's practice. With Ranchik averaging 12 points and just over 5 rebounds per game, playing nearly 30 minutes per game, his absence is one to look out for developing Buffalo's front court.
Thank you, guys. The men's Hoopers seemed to have things under wraps at halftime against Utah on Tuesday night. However, a 26-point lead was not enough for Colorado to cruise through the second half. The Utes fought until the final buzzer, cutting the deficit to single digits multiple times. Guard Terrence Brown led the charge for Utah, scoring a game-high 26 points. The men's final game of the regular season, meanwhile, might be its toughest. The Buffaloes hosted number 2 Arizona Wildcats on Saturday night.
Back to Scott Carpenter Park. I'm Matt Spivak here, ready to start Game 3 of this series against the Utah Utes.
Now, my name is Oliver Hayes on color commentary. I was here from the first game of this doubleheader where the Buffs picked up a 5-1 win over the Utes. Definitely did not go without some danger in the final inning as James Willis, the center fielder, came up with the bases juice before flying into the final out of the ball game, leading to the Buffs 5-1 win. But some decent defensive plays in the field, but from both teams, got the bats going for the Buffs in that first contest. But what are you looking for from CU in this final game of the series?
Yeah, well, they're looking for the sweep, obviously. They got Gabe Zebrak starting on the mound here for Game 3, and just going to look for some complimentary baseball, being able to throw strikes, and getting some men on base is going to be key here.
Yeah, Zebrak finished the game for the Buffs in the first contest of this doubleheader, pitched the last 3 innings after Will Shine started the day for the Buffaloes. But Zebrak, this ain't no Zebrak, bro. This guy got a right hand, not a left hand. So, unknown mystery man at the moment. We're getting the lineups all set up for the Buffs as they have a new pitcher. But Cody DeBeer, who was in the 9-hole for the Utes last game, at the top of the lineup for Utah, as he sees a strike on the first pitch of the ball game.
That is high, going to be ball 1.
Archie Niebart on the mound for the Buffs. We identified the man on the bump, the righty.
That is going to be way inside. Almost caught a piece of him on that one.
Yeah, James Willis on deck, batting in the second spot for the Utes for the second straight contest. He had a nice game in the first game in the field and at the plate with a
that one is
RBI double.
Swung on and dribbled to first. Pitcher's going to get over there for the out. That is out number 1 on the inning.
Nice play by Archie Niebart to get over there and help out. I believe that's Zebrak at first base wearing number 18. So nice play by the two to get the first out of the ball game for Colorado.
Yeah, make the first baseman's job a little easier there. Not have to stress about running over to the bag.
Yeah, for sure. Now James Willis at the plate. I was just praising him for some nice play in the first ball game of today. Or Joshua Willis, excuse me. The J was tossing me off, but
yeah, we got James Roberts coming up next. I think that's what you were thinking about.
Yeah, that must have been it.
Yeah.
Switched up the names, but either way, Joshua Willis with a great game, as I was saying.
Swung on and missed. That was a good cut though from Willis.
That one was high and inside. Throwing some of those high pitches to Willis has been paying off today. He's a big swinger, looks to make some things happen, and even though he has taken some wild hacks at some high pitches.
That one is low. Off speed does not catch the edge of the plate there. Looks like we got a full count here.
Yeah, Josh Willis looking to see what he can do with a 3-2 count.
That will be outside as well. That'll be the first base runner of the inning for the Utes on the walk.
The umpire is switching places. The ump that's behind the dish was in the field last game, and the ump that was behind the dish last game gave the outside corner a strike call whenever right-handed hitters were at the plate, not giving it on that one as Willis walks.
James Roberts up to the plate now with the runner on first. That one will be in for strike 1.
Roberts didn't do too much at the plate in the first game, but some decent plays at shortstop for the Utes.
That is driven right back up the middle. That will get into center field for the base knock. Will advance Willis to second. Runners on first and second now for the Utes with 1 out in the inning.
And now that brings Owen Miller, the catcher for the Utes, to the plate. He had multiple hits in the first game today, and with multiple runners on as well, he can do some damage early on for Utah, trying to get some revenge in this second game of a doubleheader.
First pitch is swung on and dribbled, and it looks like it will get foul. That was a good decision on the pitcher's part, Archie.
Yeah, Archie Niebart with the decision to let it go foul, and he's trying to do anything he can to get the second out with 2 runners on. Retired Cody DeBeer, the first batter of the game that he faced, but Josh Willis and James Robert advanced on a walk and a single, and now occupy first and second with just 1 out for the Utes in the top of this first inning.
That will be low.
It was low. That's as low as they go down in Boco. Hey, kill him. I'm just playing.
Swung on and missed for strike 2 on the at-bat, I'm pretty sure. We got a count of 1 and 2 here for Miller.
That was a hardy cut from the catcher.
Looking to knock a run in here for sure. That was another hardy cut on the off speed. It got him swinging. That is out number 2 on the inning for Nemhart.
Yeah, good pitch from Niebart and good composure as well. You know, as we mentioned, gave up the last two, allowed the last 2 batters to reach base, but after 2 strikes, a nice breaking ball and had Miller reaching.
Yeah, Samuel Snyder stepping into the box. First ball looking for his head. That is a wild pitch. Both runners will advance second and third now with 2 outs for Samuel Snyder.
So not the worst thing to worry about with 2 outs in the inning, but obviously if a pass ball happens again, that would be danger for the Buffaloes. Especially with Willis at third base out there having played in center field. He showed off his speed in the first game with some nice defensive plays, so he could definitely take advantage and advance 90 feet for the first run of the ball game if the ball gets past, not sure who that is behind the dish, but I'd have to guess it was Charlie Lesh.
Snyder takes that ball high. He has a 2-0 count now, very favorable for him with runners in scoring position.
And Niebart looking to lock in and find the zone for this 3rd out.
That one will not find the strike zone either. That one is inside and low. It is now a 3-0 count. You think he's swinging here?
Oh, definitely not. He hasn't seen anything close. He's seen a ball over his head, outside high and away, inside and in the dirt. I mean, shoot, now it might be right and away.
Yeah, he didn't really get a chance to swing the bat at all. That at bat, 4-pitch walk. And now the bases are loaded for Grady Hopkin, who steps into the batter's box.
Hopkin moving over to third base from second base in this second ball game, but looking to get something done with the bases juice and 2 outs in the top of this first inning. Going back to the first ball game of this doubleheader, now the 2nd straight inning the Utes have gotten the bases loaded. Now looking to capitalize after leaving them stranded to end last ball game, losing 5-1.
The first pitch is in the dirt, and the runner will get home and score safe, and the ball gets away again. Another runner is going to come home. That is 2 runs scored on the wild pitch.
Yeah, that was tough for Charlie Lesh. That ball was in the dirt, had to move over, and a tough bounce that looked like off his left shin guard, and didn't get too far away from him, but just enough for Willis to score. And then in a tough play, trying to find Niebart covering the plate. There was an errant throw, and Zebrak at first did not come behind to back up the play, and Utes are able to score 2 on a wild pitch. And tough situation for the Buffs too when you have 2 speedy runners, the center fielder and the shortstop, and Josh Willis and James Roberts for the Utes at second and third in that situation. Both able to take advantage, and contrary to some slower players that the Utes may have, but our 2-0 lead for Utah.
That one is swung on, drove into left center, and it will drop. That will score another run, and that is a stand-up double for Hopkin. The lead is now 3-0 Utes.
The third baseman jumped all over that one, put that out into the left center warning track near that 353 mark. And Niebart, even though he got 2 outs in the inning, has allowed all 4 of those runners to come around and score, making a 3-0 ball game. And now Hopkins stands at second base with Elijah Grammons coming to the plate. Although Grammons had 3 strikeouts and 3 plate appearances in that first ball game.
The second baseman, Elijah Grammons, takes his first pitch outside. Nembhard having some accuracy issues right now.
Yeah, I mean, he walked the second batter of the game, then walked the fifth batter of the game as well on a 4-pitch walk. So, yeah, accuracy issues, like you said, and then also giving him now 2 hits in this one. Definitely tough. Rattled in the top of this first.
That second pitch will catch the outside corner. 1-1 count here for the second baseman.
And it's also a tough play, giving up 2 runs on a wild pitch. That rarely happens in the game of baseball, but yeah, tough on the mental for sure.
That pitch will also catch the outside corner. Now behind in the count, 1-2 is Grammons.
Grammons, in his 4th plate appearance, could be looking for his 4th strikeout on the day, going for the golden sombrero across 2 ball games.
Not on that pitch. That one is low and outside. Evens up the count at 2-2.
Yeah, so Nebar must be thinking, I need to get this guy. Already given up three runs, and Grammons not having the best day.
That is grounded up the middle. The second baseman will throw him out. That was Lucas Komkowicz. I apologize if I butchered that name. That will end the top of the first inning. But the Utah Utes score 3 runs to take the lead early in this one. We will be back here on ScoBuff Sports.
Cougar shall take it herself on the steal, and 1, ladies and gentlemen, going in for the basket, and she draws the foul. Ladies and gentlemen, what a play by Desiree Wooten against the BYU Cougars in Provo, Utah. Colorado Women's Hoops now in Kansas City, advancing in the Big 12 tournament. That's all I've got this week on ScoBuff Sports. I'm Kieran Walker, wishing you a wonderful weekend.
Here we see Xavier McNevitz working on his reader for the live show. If we didn't have these readers done by Thursday night, chances are we would not be airing this show right now. Be like Xavier. Get your readers done. And don't forget to click save so that you don't lose any of your hard-earned work.
What's going on, Buffs fans? Got a huge weekend of games coming up for you. My name is Paxton Haynes, bringing you to them in rapid fire. Let's start with men's lacrosse. The men's team started 7th ranked in MCLA. They have since dropped out of the rankings, but looking to get back on track with the home opener tonight against Arizona State. They're going to have their hands full with that one. Then, big ScoBuff Sports history. First ever softball game streamed live on our YouTube channel as the CU women's team takes on Air Force Saturday at 11 a.m. And then heading over to the hoop side of things, it is men's basketball against the Arizona Wildcats. Tad Bullow's boys will be looking to shock the world Saturday at 9 p.m., a game for you Night Owls. And then finally, with baseball, the home opener over at Scott Carpenter Park, Sunday at 11 a.m., followed by another game right at 1 p.m. against the Utah Utes, the CU baseball team looking to finally win the Mid-American West Division. That's all for Rapid Fire. Back to you guys, back at the desk.
Thanks, Paxton. If you're one of the lucky viewers who
Welcome back here to Scott Carpenter Park for the bottom of the first inning. Gabe Zebrak is going to lead things off for the Colorado Buffaloes. He is playing first base in this 3rd game of the series.
Yeah, Colorado trailing 3-0 after the top of that first inning.
That first pitch is swung on and hit right at the first baseman. He will take it to the bag himself for out number 1 on the first pitch.
1 pitch, 1 out for the Utes. Getting off to a good start in this ballgame, as I said, leading 3-0. Scoring 2 runs on a wild pitch, and then an RBI double from Grady Hopkin, the third baseman.
Center fielder Kyle Casavillini, again, apologize if I butchered that, takes the first ball up high. Casavillani. That evens up the count at 1-1. The third pitch is also swung on and missed. Now 1-2 behind in the count is Cacciavillani.
And Matthew Lebrecht on the bump for the Utes, making quick work so far on the bottom of this first.
That one is driven up the middle. The shortstop has it and will throw him out for a quick second out. That was James Roberts with the play.
Yeah, Roberts has been pretty solid at shortstop so far this afternoon. And in the first inning, in the top half of this inning, this ball game, he was the second run that came around to score on that pass ball, showing off his speed and taking advantage of some sloppy defensive work by the Buffaloes.
Shortstop Finn Simones in the box will take ball one low and outside. Second pitch is swung on and missed. Will even the count at 1-1 for Simones. Check swing. He did not go, says the first base umpire. That will be high for a ball.
The Buffs dugout cheering a little bit.
That one dribbled down the third base line, but it will be foul. The count stays at 2-2.
Matt, momentum is always a big game in any sport, or a big factor in any sport. But what have you thought of both teams' energy in the dugouts today?
Yeah, I mean, right now, just from what I'm looking at, the Colorado dugout, especially in this half inning, has been on their feet, been cheering on their guys. Haven't really been paying too much attention to the Utah dugout, if I'm being honest. That one is high and should bring us to a full count. Is that what the umpire said?
I believe so.
Okay.
Full count. Couldn't see from that angle, but
it looks like
it should be.
Yeah, full count. Okay.
3-2.
Couldn't see his thumb. That one is swung on, dribbled to the third baseman, but it gets through. Grady Hopkin could not make the play. Ball just squirts off his glove into left field. That is a single for Finn Simones.
Yeah, it was more than dribble. I mean, he got decent contact on it. I mean, placed it perfectly between Hopkin and Roberts in that shortstop third base hole. But off Hopkins' leather, diving at third base, it hopped into left field, and the Buffs have a base runner with 2 outs in the bottom of this first inning.
Charlie Lesh swinging and missing on the first pitch of his at-bat here in Game 3.
I had a great first game of this doubleheader behind the dish and multiple hits and RBIs and runs scored himself in that first game.
Takes that second pitch in the dirt for ball one on this count.
Lesh was is behind the dish again for game 2. Was the catcher on that 2-run wild pitch. So looking to make up for that one.
Swung and drilled right back up the middle, and it was snagged by Elijah Grams on the fly. What do you think about that play?
I mean, I thought that was going to catch Matthew Lebrecht. That was near his head. I thought he almost caught it. That was crazy by him. And then Graham somehow being able to see that despite the blockage of his pitcher, Lebrecht, was able to make the play and pick it off the dirt.
Yeah, nonetheless, another quick inning from Lebrecht. He is dealing right now, and we are headed to the top of the third inning here at top of the second. My fault. Top of the second here at Scott Carpenter Park. We will be back on Sko Buff Sports.
With buys to get wins in the past 2 days. Arizona State really getting a good upset against Iowa State yesterday. And Kansas State, one of the hottest teams in the tournament right now, broke a long-standing 3-point record and is the first 12 seed to make the Big 12 tournament semifinals. An absolutely electric environment. We're going to take you out to the court here as we talk a little bit more about the Big 12 picture. Now, Colorado has a tough matchup against Baylor later today, and Arizona State and Iowa State are facing off here in just about an hour. And Colorado and Baylor have faced earlier this season in a really close game, and all of the coaches have said how much they love the parity of the Big 12, noting that it's one of the best conferences in the nation. And that's been a big part of the Big 12's reason to get some of the glass court behind me here. Now, the glass court, some of the players have noted that they've been slipping a little bit. They miss playing on the hardwood, but it's been really immersive for players and fans alike. Ads revenue coming on during timeouts, the brackets, and then, of course, the LED displays that have shown the court and their teams as they're doing player introductions have just been absolutely electric. And you can see here as I come out near the T-Mobile Center and the new LED courts, it is absolutely incredible. You can see here behind me as some of the teams are warming up for this next game between West Virginia and Arizona State. The winner of this match will play Colorado and Baylor. As the bracket is beginning to shape up a little bit, Kansas State and TCU will play for the first spot tomorrow in the Big 12 Tournament Championship game, which will be played on Sunday. BYU fell earlier today, so there will be no Monday finals. But the Big 12 tournament is really shaping up to be a battle of teams that have been kind of underlooked as you look at Kansas State looking for their bid in March should they win the Big 12 tournament.
Welcome back. We are here to start the top of the second inning. Zachary Clay, the Utah Utes designated hitter, is going to start off this inning. And can I just say, I don't see a single cloud in the sky right now. It is a beautiful day out here at Scott Carpenter Park.
Yeah, very nice, and an occasional breeze blowing through to keep it cool. But yeah, very nice, and the no clouds has played a factor in that first ball game as the left fielder for the Utes misplayed a ball that the Buffs eventually scored on. But Zachary Clay at the dish, seeing that first pitch as a ball.
Yep, swung on and fouled off that second pitch back towards us.
Utes lead 3-0 in this ball game after a productive first inning to open this one.
That one is inside and low. 2-1 count to Clay.
The Utes went through 7 hitters in the top of the first, but Clay with
that one flown into right field. That is Caden Meyer with the grab with the first out of the inning.
And the Buffs have a new pitcher on the mound, number 20, Tyler Gray.
Nico Wharton stepping into the box as the 9 hitter. That first pitch inside almost hits him.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know we switched. Okay.
Swung on and missed for strike 1 of the at-bat.
Wharton, a skinny fella, likes to crowd the plate. Took a hit-by pitch to load the bases in the top of the 7th in the last game.
He tries to kind of trick the umpire on that one, but Blue was not having none of it. That catches the inside of the plate.
Blue not having any of that.
That one slightly drifted too short. Makes a great play. Strong throw over to first for the out. It was kind of just slightly popped up over there, and Simones was able to kind of get it on the one hop.
Yeah, Finn Simones had to crash that ball hard, make a quick play over to first base to get Nico Wharton, the speedy right fielder, barreling down the line, and got it in time for the second out of the inning.
Back to the top of the lineup for Utah be Cody DeBeer. Stepping in, takes the first ball way off the plate for ball 1.
Even though that pitch was outside, Gray making some good work in of the first 2 Utes batters that he's seen. Of course, the bottom 2 batters of the lineup, but
that one is grounded to the right side of the infield. First baseman will grab it, but is in time for the play. Will be safe at first is Cody DeBeer.
Yeah, that was just a tough one for the Buffs. As Zebrak had a crash on that one. That ball was slowly hit in between the first and second base hole. It looked more like a drag bunt than an actual swing in terms of how soft that ball was hit and where it was placed. And Cody DeBeer, after having a productive first game, gets his first hit of this second ball game.
Joshua Willis stepping into the batter's box now for the Utes. First pitch just catches that outside corner of the plate. Strike one on Willis.
Yeah, Willis walked in his first plate appearance against Niebart, then came all the way around the bases to score on a wild pitch.
We'll throw back to first. Just keep him honest. Gets back in there with plenty of time is Cody DeBeer.
Not a bad move from Gray, the lefty. Closer than you might have expected, but still got back in there.
That one is hit to second base. Only play is at first. They will take the out. There's 2 outs anyways. That will end the bottom half of the second inning.
Top half of the second inning.
The top half of the second inning. I am all off my game today. I'm sorry, folks. But we will be back here for the bottom half of the second inning, and the Buffs will look to get some base runners on, maybe get a couple runs on the board here.
Yeah, they trail 3-0 in this ball game. Did not get the bats going in the first, only seeing 1 hit across 4 batters. But as you said, Matt, with Kane Meyer, the right fielder, coming to the plate, looked to get the bats going in the bottom of the second.
We will be back here for the start of that inning on Sko Buff Sports.
Buffs can put together a somewhat feasible performance, even though Luke Bamgoye, coming off the bench, has made an impact in the starting lineup. So a tough poll for the Buffs, but of the top 4 that the Buffs could have faced, I believe that the Texas Tech Red Raiders are who the Buffs would want to see come that third round, playing their third game in 3 days. Look at the other rounds. I believe Cincy's front court is better than West Virginia's, moving them on to that third day along with the Buffs. I believe UCF is a more well-rounded team with a better front court than BYU, especially after Richie Saunders tore his ACL against the Buffs earlier this season. And looking at Iowa State versus Arizona State in that second round, I believe TJ Otzelberger and the Cyclones will take it to day 3 to take on the Kansas Jayhawks along with the Buffs. Now, let's look at the semifinal round and seeing what the Buffs can do there. After the Buffs potentially beat the Texas Tech Raiders, that's a big potentially, I believe they will go on to take on the Kansas Jayhawks. I think the Jayhawks, given Bill Self's history, even though TJ Otzelberger is a great coach, has a great system that he's employing, given the reason that Iowa State has been so great the last few seasons, I believe Bill Self and the Jayhawks have a lineup that is made to win, especially when Darian Peterson is playing. The Jayhawks, they are tall across the board, they are tenacious, they bring the juice, they bring the energy, and Flory Badunga in that front court, I believe, is the difference maker when it comes to that game. So I believe that would be the Buffs and the Jayhawks in the semifinals round, assuming the Buffs make it that far. And given that game, they have I can go with similar reasoning to why the game would be close against Texas Tech as it would be against Kansas, given the Buffs comeback that they had in the second half against Kansas that was similar to the game against Texas.
Welcome back here to start the bottom of the second inning. Caden Mayer will step into the box for the Buffaloes.
Matthew Lebrecht still on the bump for the Utes after a productive first inning.
He's swinging on the first pitch. That one was a little low, and he did not get contact with it. That will be strike 1 on Mayer. That one is grounded to third. Hopkin able to snare it and throw out Mayer at first for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, Hopkin has been impressive today. Of course, got the RBI double in his first plate appearance of this ball game, but had a good day at second base in the first ball game of this one, and now showing off the leather in this second inning.
Tyler Gilmore swinging on the first pitch. That is grounded to short, but unable to make the play is James Roberts, and that will be an error and reach for Gilmore. First base runner of the inning for the Buffaloes.
And now Richie Biberoche, the DH, coming to the plates, the big right-hander for the Buffaloes, looking to do some damage with the runner on.
First pitch swinging. That was a great cut. He did not make contact, but that was good sign. If you're in that CU Buffaloes dugout, you want to see your guys go down swinging. Check back to first base. Might have been close, but he is safe.
That was a good move. Gilmore was stuck. He was frozen for a second. Didn't expect Lebrecht to turn back and try and pick him off, but not the most accurate throw in the world, and Gilmore is able to get back in there. This
That
one's
one
fouled off.
is fouled off by Biberoche.
Biberoche from Pennsylvania, a sophomore, his second season with the Colorado Buffaloes.
Now behind in the count 0-2. And that one is in there on the outside corner, catching him looking. That is Biberoche down 1-2-3 on strikes.
It's the second out of this second inning, the bottom half of the inning for the Buffaloes. But Tyler Gilmore on first base with Lucas Komkowicz, the second baseman, at the dish.
First pitch swinging and first pitch missing is Komkowicz. That is an 0-1 count for him. Again, Lebrecht doing a great job on the mound.
Yeah, the Utah native making quick work early in this one.
That one does not catch the outside of the plate. We'll even up the count at 1-1 here for Komkowicz. Buffalo's looking to not let that error go to waste. Another check on Gilmore, who's on first, and gets back in time again.
And this is an interesting battle. Lebrecht, a fifth-year senior, born in 2002. Komkowicz, a freshman, born in 2007.
That one is up high.
So a 5-year difference between the two players dueling right now. That's the fun of college baseball, isn't it?
It's the fun of all college sports in this day and age.
Ain't that about right?
That one is fouled off. Check your cars out there, people.
And check any walkers. They're doing a beanie is strolling by. He could have got hit with that foul ball. But beanie not a bad choice even in the hot weather. I'm rocking a beanie right now.
Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did, says the umpire. That is another strikeout on the inning for Lebrecht, and that is going to end the bottom of the second.
Lebrecht says, listen to Unk. I got 5 years on you and the strikeout, as the Utes take a 3-0 lead into the third inning.
We will be back with the top of the third here at Scott Carpenter Park. Join us back on ScoBuff Sports.
Colorado Track and Field has qualified 3 individuals and 1 relay team for the NCAA Indoor Championships. Avery Pearson will lead the Buffs competing in the women's 800 meters. Pearson punched her ticket at the Colorado Last Chance meet with a time just under 2 minutes on the men's side. Colorado's distance medley relay of Justine Kipkich, Danny Tragars, Drew Costello, and Isaiah Gibbons will make an appearance. Cole Matheson and TJ Hansen will join the squad as alternates. Gibbons and Kipkich will also double back in the men's mile. The NCAA Indoor Championships will take place March 13th through 14th in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and will begin streaming on ESPN+.
Tennis team is coming off a split weekend on the road to open Big 12 play. The Black and Gold swept the Iowa State Cyclones on Friday, while the Jayhawks swept the Buffs 4-0 on Sunday. Colorado returns home this weekend to open up conference play on the Front Range. The 4-4 Kansas State Wildcats roll on the border tonight at 6 p.m., while the 5-4 Cowgirls of Oklahoma State take on the Buffs early on Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Catch both matches at the Meadows Club right here in Boulder.
Welcome to Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today, Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and
Back at Scott Carpenter Park for the start of the third inning. Tyler Gray is still the pitcher for the Buffaloes. First pitch is a ball to James Roberts. That one will catch the outside of the strike zone, evening up the count at 1-1 for the shortstop. Roberts singled in his first at-bat. Another strike to Roberts, now behind in the count 1-2. Joining me on the mic now is Leopoldo Rivera IV.
Yeah, Matt, thanks for having me. It's been a good afternoon of baseball here. We'll see if the Buffaloes are able to make a comeback.
That one is popped up in the infield. Should be an easy play for Finn Simons, and he gets the job done. That is the first out of the third inning.
Yeah, really clear sky here. Good on him to be able to track that one down and hawk it into the glove.
Now stepping up to the plate is the catcher, Owen Miller, struck out in his first plate appearance in the first inning. That is a ball outside. 1-0 count here for Miller. Miller looked like
that one fly in.
It looked like Miller was calling for time, and he just didn't stick his hand far enough. Blue's telling him, you got to get that hand up higher. So, yeah, just lets that ball right down the middle for a strike. 1-1 count here to Miller. That one swung on and lifted out to left center. And that one is gone. A home run for the cleanup hitter, Owen Miller, right over that 353 marker in left center.
Wow, Big Boy seemed upset. He didn't get time there, Matt. He loaded up on that one, let it fly, and you won't be seeing that one anytime soon.
Yeah, that was a great quote from my boy Leo. Yeah, the Utah dugout is ecstatic right now. That extends their lead to 4-0. They lost the first 2 games of this series, looking to bounce back and take the third game.
Emotion's definitely high over there, like you said, Matt. Seemed even after the break that the team was calm and collected. They were energized, ready to come back and get their get back on Colorado here early.
Samuel Snyder in the box now for the Utes.
That one was low and outside.
Should be a 2-0 count here for Snyder. Swung on and lifted foul down the left field line.
Utah landing.
Yeah. That one lifted right over the second baseman's head for a line drive single for Snyder. That is the second hit of the inning, still only 1 out here in the top of the third.
Yeah, right on cue there. That one was able to get down quickly, Matt, like a lot of these balls had today. Good offensive play for Utah.
Grady Hopkin now stepping up to the plate, doubled in his first appearance. Swinging on that first pitch, fouled back, just barely got a piece of that one. He knocked in a run in the first with his double as well. Looking to knock some more runs in. That is another foul ball down the left line. He's now down in the count 0-2, but looks like he's going to be going down swinging.
Yeah, Gray's been having a lot of contact on these last few pitches here, Matt. He's going to have to change something up or at least give him a different look.
Yeah, he kind of went that one is hit to shortstop. Could be a chance for 2, but it's bobbled. Now going to go to 1. Umpire says he was out. That was a very close call, and good job by Finn Simons to kind of make something out of a bobbled play.
Yeah, he saved that, but it really should have been a double play. Should have been an easy pitch up to second base and fling it over to first. Big opportunity lost for Colorado, who's fighting down right now.
Yeah, now 2 outs here in the inning with a man in scoring position for Elijah Grammons, who's stepping in the box. First pitch swinging, dribbled down the left line. That will be foul. 0-1 is the count. That pitch is swung on and drilled to third base. Tyler Gilmore misjudges it, and it goes by him. That will be a single, and Snyder advances to third. I would call that an error. It looked like Gilmore kind of misjudged it, went too far to the line. You think that was an error?
I didn't have the best angle over here, from this position here, Matt. But I'll trust you and our guy Paxton over there, who's been doing this a long time, on whatever you guys say.
Zachary Clay steps in the box, and Gray will check on the runner at first. How do you feel about him doing that in a two-out situation when he has, a more important base runner over here at third? You think that's a move?
A little distraction, is that what you're saying, Matt?
Well, if that ball gets by the first baseman, that's
Correct.
kind of an easy run over here, especially in a two-out situation.
Certainly.
We just need one out. Nonetheless, No harm, no foul. That one is going to catch the bottom of the strike zone, it looks like, to Clay. It's a 1-1 count. Utah dugout not happy about that call.
A lot of time on the mound for Gray this inning. He's just trying to make it out of this one.
That one lifted over to the right field area, and an easy play for Caden Mayer to end the inning. But big hit on the inning was the homer from Owen Miller to extend the Utah lead to 4-0. We will be back here for the start of the third inning, the bottom of the third inning on Scobuff Sports.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another week of Scobuff Sports Live. My name is Zachary Giesenslaw.
I'm Gia Henriken.
We've had a wonderful week of sunny skies and high temperatures here in Boulder, just to be hit with a bunch of snow and cold this morning, so we hope you're all staying warm at home.
We do have a lot to cover, so let's get straight into it.
We begin tonight with some solemn news from Boulder this week. On March 1st, 2026, Buffalo's backup quarterback Dominique Ponder tragically passed away. 23-year-old Ponder was pronounced dead at the scene after allegedly losing control of his vehicle and striking an electrical pole. It was announced on Friday that Ponder's memorial service will be held tomorrow, March 7th at noon. This service is open to the public and will be located at the Glenn Miller Ballroom on campus. Harrison Simeon has more on this developing story.
No one expected Colorado's spring season to start here. A curve of baseline road, flayed with mangled metal, splintered wood, and charred grass. CU quarterback Dominique Ponder was killed here early Sunday morning after a single car crash. He was 23 years old, about to begin his third season with the Buffaloes.
Colorado State Patrol said that while headed west towards Boulder, Dominic lost control of his vehicle, crossed into the opposing lane of traffic, went through this barricade before hitting an electrical pole in this place.
It fell into an embankment before catching fire. High speed is suspected. A week usually bubbly with optimism is now heavy with grief.
It's a quarterback, so it's kind of sad.
Colin Dwyer hopping into the box. He is the 9 hitter for the Buffaloes to start the third. Swung on the first pitch and hit to the first baseman, who grabs it and makes the play. That is Samuel Snyder. That was driven pretty hard, but he just flipped his glove out there and made it look easy.
Yeah, that was a quick snag there. Good reaction time for the big man. He's having a real good game so far here today, Matt.
Back to the top of the lineup for the Buffs, it is Gabe Zebrak stepping in.
Speaking of Zebrak, guess who is back? Oliver Hayes for the 3-man crew.
That is a great segue. First pitch low. I apologize for that. It looked low. It was called a strike. Second pitch also called a strike.
Yeah, Oliver, you've been here all morning as well. What have you seen so far from Colorado, maybe in the lack of success offensively?
Well, the Bucks had decent success in the first game of this doubleheader, as this one has popped up. Haven't gotten the bats going in this second game, but this ball is misplayed in left field.
That one falls, and Zebrak is going to try to stretch it into 2 bases and gets thrown out. Just a wild play right there. Miscommunication in the outfield leads to an out.
Zebrak just tried to take advantage of a sloppy play by the Utah outfield, but yeah, I'm not sure what he's doing. Leo, you had quite the look on your face.
He got greedy on that one. I'm not sure what exactly he saw from up here. It looked like he could have stayed on first all day, every day.
That first pitch is called a strike. That one is high to... Swung on and missed by Cacciavellini. I hope I said that right.
Cacciavellani?
Cacciavellani. Cacciavellani. Swung on and missed for strike 3, and that will end the inning.
Yeah, quick change there to go out there of the inning. Matt, Colorado would have liked to have some more offensive success, but we'll be back right after the break. Let's go West Sports.
Best conferences in the nation, and that's been a big part of the Big 12's reason to get some of the glass court behind me here. Now, the glass court, some of the players have noted that they've been slipping a little bit. They miss playing on the hardwood, but it's been really immersive for players and fans alike. Ads revenue coming on during timeouts, the brackets, and then, of course, the LED displays that have shown the court and their teams as they're doing player introductions have just been absolutely electric. And you can see here as I come out near the T-Mobile Center and the new LED courts, it is absolutely incredible. You can see here behind me as some of the teams are warming up for this next game between West Virginia and Arizona State. The winner of this match will play Colorado and Baylor as the bracket is beginning to shape up a little bit. Kansas State and TCU will play for the first spot tomorrow in the Big 12 Tournament Championship game, which will be played on Sunday. BYU fell earlier today, so there will be no Monday finals. But the Big 12 tournament is really shaping up to be a battle of teams that have been kind of underlooked as you look at Kansas State looking for their bid in March should they win the Big 12 tournament. And Colorado on the bubble. Kansas was on the bubble, who was a team that was battling yesterday with Colorado. BYU was on the bubble, as I mentioned them earlier. They lost earlier today, however. And the Big 12, again, one of the best.
Welcome back to Scott Carpenter Park as the 9-hitter for the Utes, Nico Wharton, steps in the box.
Nico Wharton has been crowned the plate all game. He had a hit by pitch at the end of the first game in this doubleheader, and the ump just had to go and
Display how to properly stand in the batter's box for a collegiate baseball player.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in a while, actually, maybe since Little Leagues.
Well, definitely something the pitcher was calling for since the last game here, Matt.
I mean, you look at that front toe from
That one swung on and lifted to right field. Will be a easy play for Mayer.
Yeah, not quite how the ump was drawing it up there on that one, but he's finding a little more success.
Yeah, I was about to say, Wharton's front toe on his left foot, being a right-handed batter, I mean, that was not even 3 inches away from the plate.
Back to the top of the lineup again for the Utes. Cody DeBeer, his third at-bat in 4 innings here.
Don't want to give him an easy ball, but that one goes right down the middle for a strike.
He's had multiple hits on the day across both games.
That one swung on and lifted high into right field. Chasing it is Mayer, and that one is caught. Was it?
No way.
Oh, yeah, okay, no, that was out of it. It bounced off the net.
It bounced off the net is what it is. I can't see the net out there.
That
That
ball
is a
went to Golden,
home
buddy.
run for Cody DeBeer.
So that was a heck of a call right there, but Leo with the announcer's jinx told him not to give him a good ball and hang a off-speed pitch and takes it off the scoreboard.
Yeah, certainly.
That is the second home run hit off of Tyler Gray. Second in 2 innings as well. That one is swung on and missed from Joshua Willis, the center fielder. And Willis had to kind of get out of the way of that one as it was inside. That one swung on and fouled off. Looks like we have a 2-2 count here for Willis. One out here in the top of the fourth.
Yeah, Willis responsible for the first run of the 5 runs that Utah has scored so far.
That one swung on and lifted to right field. Should be another routine play for Mayer, and he does catch it for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, Colorado's defense looking a lot more cleaned up here on this one, Matthew. They're going to need to continue that if they want to make offensive comeback coming in this next series.
Yeah, I mean, it's more about the bats in my mind. Can't win a baseball game scoring 0 runs. So got to get the bats involved here in the bottom half of this inning. As James Roberts takes the first pitch for a strike.
Play music.
And he's going to ground one to the shortstop, Finn Samoans, for the third out of the inning. Almost a 1-2-3 inning, but the home run from Cody DeBeer once again adds to the Utah lead, now leading 5-0. We will be back here at Scott Carpenter Park on ScoBuff Sports.
Boulder, they're going to need to look to push the pace, and even though they won't have the altitude, they'll need to bring the energy themselves and rely on the depth, especially through the young guys. Looking at the other games, I believe the higher seeds in the first round will win the majority of those games, and so that's why I have West Virginia, BYU, and Arizona State moving on to the second round along with the Buffs. Then you look at the third round. That's where you have the double-bye teams, the top 4 seeds in the conference, the top 4 in the Big 12 that look to make national championship runs come March Madness time. You have number 1 seed Arizona, number 2 Houston, number 3 Texas Tech, and number 4 Kansas. Looking at the CU Texas Tech game, I believe that's the best poll that the Buffs could get. They made it a game in Boulder and with a crazy second half comeback, erasing a near 24-point lead that Texas Tech had at the half. And the Buffs only lost by 2, and some may look at the refs due to that one. But given that the Buffs had that performance in Boulder against the Red Raiders, even though they got blown out in Lubbock the second time around, the Red Raiders do not have JT Toppin, and while they have momentum, the Buffs can put together a somewhat feasible performance, even though Luke Bamgoye, coming off the bench, has made an impact in the starting lineup. So a tough poll for the Buffs, but of the top 4 that the Buffs could have faced, I believe that the Texas Tech Red Raiders are who the Buffs would want to see come that third round, playing their third game in 3 days. Look at the other rounds. I believe Cincy's front court is better than West Virginia's, moving them on to that third day along with the Buffs. I believe UCF is a more well-rounded team with a better front court than BYU, especially after Richie Saunders tore his ACL against the Buffs earlier this season. And looking at Iowa State versus Arizona State in that second round, I believe TJ Otzelberger and the Cyclones will take it to day 3 to take on the Kansas Jayhawks along with the Buffs. Now,
welcome back. Scott Carpenter Park for the bottom of the 4th inning. Finn Simones to lead it off for the Buffaloes. His their only hit of the day currently in this third game was a single in the first inning.
Now, Lebrecht has been dealing and been fired up, showing the emotion, yelling after getting strikeouts, outs on the mound at the end of each inning. And now Simones, with the only hit of the inning, like you said, Matthew, would try to get something going for the Buffs in the bottom of the 4th.
That one is high. We'll even the count at 1-1 here for Simones. Another one just high. We'll bring the count to 2-1.
Definitely what you not want to see here to start off the inning, Matt.
That one swung on and popped up very high on the left side of the diamond. Will be caught by the left fielder, Cody DeBeer, for the first out of the inning.
And there have been some misplays in the outfield by Utah.
Number 2, Charlie Lesh.
And I am getting, oh my God, my ears got taken over by Charlie Lesh being announced to get to the plate. But as I was saying, some tough plays out in left field for the Utes, but able to make the play. DeBeer is, Charlie Lesh fouls it off.
Yeah, fouled off right back at us for strike 1 in the at-bat.
Just not a lot of energy coming from that Colorado side, Matt. They need something here.
That one swung on and missed. Lesh now down in the count 0-2.
I'm not sure what he saw there, man. That one looked really inside.
Leo, every time you speak, something bad happens for the Buffs.
Swung on and missed. It looks like that was a drop third strike because the catcher went to place the tag on Lesh. That is a strikeout and out number 2 of the inning.
Number 12, Caden Meyer.
Yeah, Lesh was inside and outside and then roundabout in anger as he swung his bat at 2 bad pitches and struck out.
Caden Meyer takes the Meyer takes the first pitch for a ball. I again apologize for my pronunciation.
Max
Got
is
my
like
producer correcting me.
Matthew Kaisenat Spivak on the mic.
That one is hit right past the second baseman. We'll get into the outfield for the Buffs' second hit of this game.
Good job for him staying on first. Didn't need no repeats of the last inning we saw, Matt.
Third baseman, number 4, Tyler Gilmore.
Now, it wasn't the greatest contact, but poked in the right place, got past the second baseman. Now the Buffs have a base runner.
Yeah, Gilmore's got that long frame. He's hoping to send one out deep on this one.
Yeah, takes the first pitch for a strike. And Blue says that one caught the plate as well. Gilmore now down in the count, 0-2. That one is swung on and hit foul down the left field line. Still down 0-2 in the count with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Colorado trailing 5-0 to the Utes in this 7-inning doubleheader. That one gets by the catcher and will be an easy extra base for Meyer. Gilmore dribbles that one to the third baseman. He has to charge hard on it and will make the play as Samuel Snyder, the first baseman, is able to dig that one out of the ground for out number 3 in the bottom of the 4th.
Definitely a disappointing finish there for Colorado after it looked like a promising start, Matt. But that's what we'll have for now. Back to the break.
First draw is set for 11 a.m. on Sunday and will be streamed on Big Ten Plus.
Last week, our Buffalo ski team dominated in the RMISA Championships in Bozeman, Montana and Midway, Utah. For Nordic skiing, Tilda Bangeman secured another victory in the 20K freestyle. The men were not as lucky, with the highest finishing Buff, Johannes Flatten, finishing 5th. On the alpine side, Louisa Acambre won the women's giant slalom, posting the fastest run times for both runs. In the men's giant slalom, the Buffs swept the podium, with Feb Alicina, Philip Volquist, and Justin Bigetel finishing 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. The Buffs are looking forward to competing in the upcoming NCAA championships this week.
Colorado Track and Field has qualified 3 individuals and 1 relay team for the NCAA Indoor Championships. Avery Pearson will lead the Buffs competing in the women's 800 meters. Pearson punched her ticket at the Colorado Last Chance meet with a time just under 2 minutes on the men's side. Colorado's distance medley relay of Justine Kipkich, Danny Tragars, Drew Costello, and Isaiah Gibbons will make an appearance. Cole Matheson and TJ Hansen will join the squad as alternates. Gibbons and Kipkich will also double back in the men's mile. The NCAA Indoor Championships will take place March 13th through 14th in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and will begin streaming on ESPN+.
The tennis team is coming off a split weekend on the road to open Big 12 play. The Black and Gold swept the Iowa State Cyclones on Friday, while the Jayhawks swept the Buffs 4-0 on Sunday. Colorado returns home this weekend to open up conference play on the Front Range. The 4-4 Kansas State Wildcats roll on the border tonight at 6 p.m., while the 5-4 Cowgirls of Oklahoma State take on the Buffs early on Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Catch both matches at the Meadows Club right here in Boulder.
Welcome to Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today, Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking.
Welcome back to Scott Carpenter Park, where the Utah Utes visiting the Colorado Buffaloes lead 5-0. My name is Oliver Hayes on play-by-play. Matthew Spivak joins me as the color commentator for the top half of this 5th inning. Owen Miller, the catcher, is at the plate, and a new pitcher for the Buffaloes with Elon Schwartz on the bump. First pitch is high.
Yeah, Miller hit a long bomb in his last at-bat. Was the first homer of the day for the Utes.
Yeah, poked that out to left field to extend it to a 4-0 lead as he takes another ball. Now a 2-0 count for him. Then Cody DeBeer, last inning at the top of the 4th, went yard to extend it to a 5-0 ball game for Utah. Now the Buffs are trailing and hope to get some quick work done in the top half of this 5th. As Schwartz finds his first strike of the inning. Buffs have put 3 pitchers on the mound. Archie Nybart went 1 inning, giving up 3 runs, 2 on a wild pitch, and then 1 on a double. And Miller fouls this one off. Now a 2-2 count. But Tyler Gray came in the second for the Buffaloes, pitched 3 innings, gave up 2 runs, both of those being off of homers. Outside of that, pitched quite well, and now Schwartz for Colorado as he faces Miller in a 2-2 count. Comes home, went with off speed, dribbled a hit hard to third base, and Miller is going to be thrown out by Tyler Gilmore, who makes a nice play. Buffs are going to toss around the infield after getting the first out of the inning.
Yeah, that was hardly hit to the third baseman, but great job by Gilmore to stab it, and then once he had it in his glove, had plenty of time to set his feet and make that throw over to first.
Yeah, it was a 1 or 2 hopper and got there pretty fast, so, I mean, it didn't really matter how fast Miller was. Whoever you were, it was going to be tough to get down the line and beat that out. And on the first pitch to Samuel Snyder, the first baseman, it is outside for a 1-0 count. Pitch number 2 is even further outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
Snyder has not been gotten out by the defense yet today, has a walk and a single in 2 plate appearances, now looking to get on base once again.
Schwartz comes home with the off speed, gets a swing and a miss. 2-1 count.
Great looking pitch right there. Just had Snyder fooled a little bit.
Schwartz has looked nice so far. Of course, is only on his second batter, but as I say that, announcer's drinks and throws it outside in a race to the ball and the pass ball, and Utah, Grady Hopkin, excuse me, beats, who is that, number 13 for the Buffaloes on that pass ball. So just like in the second game of this doubleheader, Utah beating the Buffaloes. As Michael McGinnis was a Buff late on that one. And Schwartz finds the strike zone for this second strike of this at-bat, now a full count. And on the off-speed pitch, inside and in the dirt. And Snyder walks for the second time this ballgame, reaches base for the third.
Yeah, Snyder has 2 of the Utes' 3 walks in this game, so proving that he has a great eye.
And now Grady Hopkin, the third baseman, at the dish. He's a pitch inside, almost hit him. If that was Nico Wharton, that probably would hit him right in the back, but Hopkin gets out of the way.
Ball getting away from Schwartz a little bit here.
And not staying on top of his pitches. As a righty, a lot of the pitches in this inning into the right-handed batter's box. As this ball is hit hard down the left foul line. The umps call it foul.
That was smoked down the line. About a couple inches from being fair, possibly stand-up double that would have been.
Yeah, that would have been trouble for the Buffaloes, who trail 5-0 already in this ballgame. Grady Hopkin, after winning the race over Max McGinnis to the pass ball. But Snyder at the plate has the momentum and is looking to straighten it out, put one into fair play with the same amount of velocity as that foul ball. Schwartz comes home. An off-speed pitch is outside. Second ball, 2-1 count. Snyder remains at first. This ball is fouled straight back right off the big post that blocks everyone's view.
Were you catching that ball if it came back up towards us?
I mean, I would add a show off the 50-inch vert maybe, but potentially.
Potentially.
But either way, now a 2-2 count for Hopkin. Has an RBI double on the day that scored the third run in the top of the first for the Utes. Now looking to do some damage. Another pitch inside, not going to wear it. And it is a full count for Hopkin.
Yeah, from my view, it looked like that was going to hit him right in the back, but Hopkin kind of gets out of the way, and maybe in a game where you're winning by 5 runs, maybe that's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you know, trying to do something, build some momentum, as there's a lot of games for the rest of the season. Schwartz comes home and throws it high and gets them. Maybe Hopkins should have worn one of those 2 pitches after that result, but you know, hindsight is 20/20.
That will be the second out of the inning. Still 1 runner on for the Utes.
And now second baseman Elijah Grammons at the plate. He sees a strike.
Grammons reached on an error in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, he's had a tough day at the plate, but made a nice play at second base earlier in this ball game. And now sees strikes 2 after checking his swing and going just around. Two outs in the inning. Snyder on first base. Schwartz from the stretch. This ball is hit high and deep to right center field. And it is caught by Kyle Caciaviani to end this top of the 5th inning.
Yeah, he had to cover some good ground on that catch and was able to make it look not too difficult.
Yeah, I mean, got under there in some time. It was a little hard to see off the bat, but was able to catch it, reel in the 3rd out of the inning, and the Buffs give up no runs, but still trail Utah 5-0 at Scott Carpenter Park. We'll be back after the break.
We've had a wonderful week of sunny skies and high temperatures here in Boulder, just to be hit with a bunch of snow and cold this morning, so we hope you're all staying warm at home.
We do have a lot to cover, so let's get straight into it.
We begin tonight with some solemn news from Boulder this week. On March 1st, 2026, Buffalo's backup quarterback Dominique Ponder tragically passed away. 23-year-old Ponder was pronounced dead at the scene after allegedly losing control of his vehicle and striking an electrical pole. It was announced on Friday that Ponder's memorial service will be held tomorrow, March 7th at noon. This service is open to the public and will be located at the Glenn Miller Ballroom on campus. Harrison Simeon has more on this developing story.
No one expected Colorado's spring season to start here. A curve of baseline road, flayed with mangled metal, splintered wood, and charred grass. CU quarterback Dominique Ponder was killed here early Sunday morning after a single car crash. He was 23 years old, about to begin his 3rd season with the Buffaloes.
Colorado State Patrol said that while headed west towards Boulder, Dominic lost control of his vehicle, crossed into the opposing lane of traffic, went through this barricade before hitting an electrical pole in this place.
It fell into an embankment before catching fire. High speed is suspected. A week usually bubbly with optimism is now heavy with grief.
You know, he's a quarterback, so it's kind of sad not being able to protect him off the field, but it's like, it's going to make me do everything to protect my quarterbacks I have left on the field.
New offensive coordinator Brendan Marion grew up in the same Pittsburgh neighborhood.
Number 3, Richie Bibero.
We are back at Scott Carpenter Park for the bottom of the 5th inning. The Buffaloes trail the Utah Utes by a score of 5-0. Richie Bibero comes to the plate as the designated hitter. And Matthew Lebrecht stays on the bump for the Utah Utes, pitching a scoreless 4 innings so far, excuse me. First pitch, catch the zone for a strike.
Yeah, Lebrecht is really pitching a gem right now. As you said, 4 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, no walks, and has only allowed 2 hits
Ball on that last pitch, making it a 1-1 count. But, yeah, as you said, 2 hits, both on singles. And he misses the zone for the second time. Bibero struck out in his first at-bat, his only at-bat of this game and of the day, and will swing and miss, making it a 2-2 count. Bibero has been with the team for 2 years now, but just only appearing for the first time today in this ball game. And he will strike out for the second time this ball game on the 5th pitch of this at-bat. Gets got by Lebrecht for the second time today.
Yeah, nobody on this Buffs team has really figured out Lebrecht yet. There have been some strikeouts, some off-balance swings. Nobody's really been able to catch up with him yet.
Yeah, now up to 5 strikeouts on the day. The off-speed pitch is working. Guys have missed on the fastball, but the big thing is just a lack of hard-hit balls. Whenever the Buffs have made contact, a lot of dribblers and things like that. And after a ball right there, making it a 1-1 count. 1-1 count, excuse me. Utah stays ahead 5-0. They've played some solid defense up to this point. Now 2-1 count. There was only 1 error in this game so far, which was made in the left field by DeBeer, but this one catches the zone for a strike. But the first baseman for the Buffaloes, Gabe Zabrak, tried to turn into a double off the error and got thrown out at second base. This ball is hit down the third base line. This is going to be fair, and there may be multiple bases for Lucas Komkowicz. DeBeer's trying to track that down. He is having trouble with it, and Komkowicz is going to try and stretch it out. Nope, he is going to put on the brakes just after rounded second base, and he has a double, picking up the third hit for the Buffaloes.
Yeah, even with the fumble out there in left field by Cody DeBeer, it just didn't seem like Komkowicz had enough speed coming around second base to make it in there. I personally think it was a good decision from him there to stop.
Yeah, you never want to. You never want to get an out at third base. Always the toughest place to get an out, especially when you're down 5 runs. No need to run into an out right there, especially with the top of the lineup coming up and 2 batters. But Colin Dwyer, the 9-hole hitter, the left fielder, up at the dish, grounded out to the first baseman in his first at bat of the day. But looking to follow up CU's 3rd hit of the second game with something special as the Buffs try to get back in it. First pitch is high for a ball. The Buffs have been dancing on the base pass, and a swing and a miss from Colin Dwyer.
I think Komkowicz is the second Buffalo's base runner to reach second and make it into scoring position. Let's see if they can capitalize this time around.
That one is high, making it a 2-1 count for Dwyer. And reading his last name, I'm really confused on how you guys got to Dwyer? Was that what you guys were saying? I don't know. Can't read, man. Anyways, Lebrecht, he will come home. Swing and a miss. 2-2 count for Dwyer. 1 out in the inning so far, a strikeout for Biberoche. But Komkowicz followed it up with a double. And after 3 swings and a miss for Dwyer, he will strike out, meaning the second K of this inning for Lebrecht.
Yeah, and the 6th of the game for him. Let's see if he can go through the inning with a little hat trick.
Yeah, and honestly, not only getting through the inning with the hat trick, seeing if he can possibly go the whole game and see if he can continue the shutout. Even though Komkowicz stands on second base and Gabe Zabrak at the top of the lineup is coming up to the dish as he sees a ball on his first look of his second at bat. He is 0-2 for the day, like a lot of the Buffaloes. Nathan looks at the plate. The Buffs have a substitution. Zabrak no more. So in the first appearance for Tunks, it is 2-0. 2-0 count for Tunks. That one catches the outside corner, making it 2-1 for Tunks, and Lebret, excuse me, looking to get out of the inning, leaving Komkowicz stranded at second.
It's a huge hole out in right center. If Tunks can maybe squirt the ball out there.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't notice that. You can see Willis playing just left of second base, and then you look over at Nico Wharton, and I mean, he's all lonely. He's closer to the bullpen than Willis. Well, Lebret comes home high, and it is a walk for Tunks in his first appearance. A good eye for him, and now the Buffaloes have 2 base runners. Some screaming from the dugout, and they may be able to build a 2-out rally here in the bottom of the 5th inning, down 5 runs.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's a scouting report or anything, but after the new batter, I didn't see either the center fielder or right fielder move at all. So either these 2 batters have the same exact hit maps, or that's kind of just the defense they like to play out there.
I'm not sure if that first pitch is a strike. I'm not sure if the scouting reports at the college level are that advanced, having cards for each guy coming up to the plate. But as we've seen, some balls ripped down the third base line for the Buffaloes. As this pitch is in the dirt, 1-1 for Kachelavani. But as we saw, Komkowicz pulled a pitch from Lebret down the line for a double earlier in this inning. So I guess Wharton is making sure he can hold it down for Utah in case anything gets down that line. But yeah, like you said, leaves a huge hole for the Buffaloes. And catch Levani if he's able to squirt one out there with a 1-1 count. But he swings and a miss at a pitch outside. Now there's 2 strikes on him. It's just 1 ball. Catch Levani is 0 for 2 on the day. Strikeout in his last at bat. The center fielder looking to do something. And he has a good eye with 2 strikes, making it a 2-2 count. Letting the pitch go on something that could have clipped the higher part of the zone, but just misses. Lebrecht maybe would have wanted to use ABS on that one. But as Paxton said earlier today, I guess we haven't gotten that far. Here, a 2-2 count, 2 runners on for the Buffaloes. Foul tipped. And Owen Miller is not able to reel it in. Kachelavani stays alive. And he will have another chance.
Yeah, a hit here would honestly do wonders for the Buffaloes. Just momentum-wise, being able to get 1 or 2 batters to cross the plate going into the final 2 innings of this one could maybe spark something for the Colorado offense.
Yeah, definitely. Staying alive is always huge for a batter, and with 2 runners on in this situation, it is huge for the Buffaloes to ride any momentum that they have at this point in the late stages of a ball game. But not sure what the umpires were talking about right there after the foul tip. But now still a 2-2 count, 2 runners on. Kachelavani looks to do something with his extra life. And then he does that, sends that to center field. Willis is on the chase. He puts his glove up, and he will make the catch, ending the inning. And Utah will keep the 5-0 lead, stopping on any momentum that the Buffs had. That was one of the more exciting offensive showings that the Buffs had in the second game of this doubleheader so far.
Yeah, it might have been their best opportunity to get runs. I know they didn't get 2 runners on until they had 2 outs in the inning, but anytime you have multiple runners on base, it's an opportunity to get a crooked number up on the board, and unfortunately for the Buffs, they were unable to do that and unable to capitalize on that opportunity. Now we will head to the top of the 6th. Buffs still down 5-0.
Given the Buffs' comeback that they had in the second half against Kansas, that was similar to the game against Texas Tech. But Kansas, they don't have anybody out to injury unless Darren Peterson has another mysterious absence or something like that. So the Buffs will need to have to play a much more complete game than they would have to play against Texas Tech, have to shoot the ball really, really well, and have a really nice game from their front court, and hope that Sebastian Rancic is somehow healthy by that fourth day, if not that first round of the tournament, if they want to beat the Jayhawks. Looking at that matchup above with Arizona, that's the championship. Look at that matchup above with Arizona and Houston before we get to that championship in the semifinal. That will be a tough one because those two teams really go at it. But Arizona, with the depth that they had, their top 8, they had 2 starters in Anthony Del Orso and Toby Awaka move to the bench this season due to the talent that they've brought in. And with the freshmen that they have, and Brain Berries and Koa Pete, I mean, they are a heck of a team. And unfortunately, even though I like Kelvin Sampson and his legendary status with the Cougars, especially with their backcourt, and one of the best defensive players in the conference with JoJo Tugler, I have to give Arizona the edge and move them on to the championship, which now we'll look at. And somehow, some way, if the Buffs make it to the championship, I mean, I just have to say Godspeed for the Buffs, the black and gold. If they have to make it to the championship, whoever they take on, playing their 5th game in 5 days, I mean, they could be playing number 16 Utah. That would be a tough game, playing your 5th game in 5 days. But assuming that they would have to play the best team in the conference, the regular season Big 12 champions, the Arizona.
For the Buffaloes,
We are back at Scott Carpenter Park, where the Utah Utes lead the Colorado Buffaloes by a score of 5-0. My name is Oliver Hayes on play-by-play, joined by Leopoldo Rivera IV on color. Leo, you've been on the call for a few innings so far today. What have you seen for the Buffs in this 5-0 deficit?
Yeah, just a lot of lack of opportunity, Oliver. The Buffs have had a few chances to get some runs on the board, and they just haven't been able to capitalize.
This first pitch from new pitcher Chase Ambull comes in for a strike to designated hitter Zachary Clay. He sees a second strike and is now down 0-2 early in this at-bat.
Good job to squeeze it right inside the box there.
And it looks like they actually have Charlie Walker in for Clay. Walker is at the plate, and he swings and misses.
Our mystery pitcher from earlier in the game, if you guys have been sticking around that long.
Have a mystery pitcher not doing so well. Probably wishes he was mystery batter after 3 pitches and a strikeout. But now the top of the lineup for Chase Ambull, facing Cody DeBeer, who has had a nice day at the plate across both games. 2 hits in this one, a single and a homer in his last appearance to give the Utes a 5-0 lead.
Yeah,
I was strike so far.
I was hesitant to say anything about DeBeer as he walks up to the plate, Oliver. Don't want to do any more jinxing.
Yeah, you were on the call for that homer, and you said you didn't want to give him a good ball because he might do something with it, and, well, something he did. And Bull comes home.
That might almost be better than letting him get a hit on the ball. Just get him a little walk to first base there, Oliver.
Yeah, an intentional walk. Hit him by the pitch in the ribs, something like that. Was what they were trying to do on that last? No, I'm just playing. But Embo comes home and gets a swing and a miss on a pitch at DeBeer's eyes.
Yeah, really nice
This is Nico
job.
Wharton, excuse me. They're at the bottom of the lineup still. My fault. I was looking at the lineup and it confused me. Wharton has had a tougher day from the plate than DeBeer has.
Yeah, our apologies there, crowd. Thanks for keeping us honest. They get after us in the YouTube comments here, Oliver.
Well, it wasn't even the crowd, I don't think. Maybe they're calling us in the comments. I just messed up with the substitute, the pinch hitter at the last batter. But Buff's not happy and not getting the strike call on that off-speed pitch to Wharton. I mean, not sure you don't get the pitch don't get the outside corner with the dude ground the plate that much, but pop up to second base, short right field, and it is bobbled by Lucas Komkowicz, but catches it with the bare hand against his chest for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, good coordination to be able to hold that one in, Oliver. It looked like he was about to have a huge drop there. Could have been costly for the Buffs.
Yeah, I'm not sure about good coordination given the first drop, but yeah, a good recovery at least. Something, medium coordination, I guess. Yeah, offsets positive and negative, I guess, maybe. But Cody DeBeer, who we just chatted about now at the plate, 2 for 3 on the day with a homer and a single. As I mentioned, he sees a strike in his first pitch of the top of the 6th. And now a ball. And a swing and a miss from DeBeer.
Yeah, just a lot of power when he loads up on that one. Oliver cannot give him a contactable ball.
Yeah, there's on his home run swing, the left off-speed pitch hanging. And now on a swing and a miss, it's a 2-2 count for DeBeer. And Amble is looking to pick up his second strikeout of the inning. Fifth pitch of the at-bat, swing and a miss, and the second strikeout he gets.
Yeah, a little bit of swagger coming off the mound there on that one, Oliver. He was feeling himself. Real good job to get him out of there.
And so the Buffs still down 5-0 to the Utah Utes after the top of the sixth, but not having given up some runs after the last two innings, they're hoping the bats can do some damage in the bottom of the sixth. We'll see if that can happen after the break.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Balin, you have an answer?
What is stand up, sing loud, and do the Ralphie horns?
Correct. Balin, the board is yours.
Give me tailgate traditions for 400.
All right, here's the answer. The must-have item to wear on game day to show your Buff pride. Kieran?
What is black and gold?
That's correct. Nothing says school spirit like those two colors. Choose the next one.
Let's do fan etiquette for 600.
Fan etiquette. The proper response when you hear someone yell, "Go Buffs."
What is Skull Buffs?
Skull Buffs is right. Looks like we've got some true Buffs fans here. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our contestants, and see you next time.
The men's golfers moved up to number 47 in the nation after taking home hardware at the Wyoming Desert Intercollegiate. The Buffaloes look to add to their trophy case at the Lambkin San Diego Classic starting on Monday. Number 38 Long Beach University is the highest ranked team participating in the tournament, followed by Colorado. The Buffs are beginning a tough stretch of their season, competing in tournaments in 3 straight weeks.
Coming off a first-place finish, the women's golf squad looks to replicate that success at the Game Above Invitational on Monday. The 2-day tournament in Palos Verdes, California will feature the first 2 rounds on Monday and the final round on Tuesday. The Buffaloes will face some tougher competition in this tournament. Highlighted.
I guess you could do it that way.
We are back at Scott Carpenter Park where the Utah Utes lead the Colorado Buffaloes by a score of 5-0 in the bottom of the sixth. Finn Simones, the shortstop, comes to the plate as a third hitter for the Buffaloes. And a new pitcher, Ryan Meyer, relieves Matthew Lebrecht after 5 innings pitched, all scoreless for the Utes. The first pitch comes in. Now the second. And high and away outside. No one would swing at that ever. Finn Simones looking to get his second hit of the ball game. He had the Buffs' first hit of this second game of the doubleheader. The pitch comes home, outside. And now Meyer struggling to find the zone. Just 3 pitches in. Buffs dug out a little bit louder. And Simone sends this back into Arapahoe.
Yeah, I got a car over there, Oliver. Hope these foul balls stay inside the net.
Yeah, bold choice putting a whip over there. I'm not sure if I would have done that, but more power to you.
Considering you didn't mention anything about it when we
count.
showed up, I don't think you put too much thought into it.
Yeah, I guess I could have warned you. But hey, I'm a betting man. I don't think it will get hit. And the payoff pitch is outside, and the Buffs get a base runner as Simones reaches for the second time of this ball game. And now the 4-hole, Charlie Lesh,
Catcher number 2,
comes up to the plate.
Charlie Lesh.
And looks to do something against Meyer.
Yeah, Colorado really needs to find some offense here in this one, Oliver. Not a lot of time left to make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, baseball is a game where you don't have any time. If you string together some hits, you can just keep going and going and going. So, but running out of innings instead of time, so chances are getting slimmer.
That walk by Simone was the first walk by any Utah pitcher today.
And now another ball for Charlie Lesh. But I believe that's the first walk of the day At least the first of this game. Or no, that's the second walk of the game. Nathan Tunks had a walk earlier. So the lineup is tough to see on our end with the pinch hitters and whatnot. But a base runner for the Buffs nonetheless, and Charlie Lesh takes a big hack at a high pitch. And now it is a 2-2 count. The Buffs dugout coming alive, like I mentioned, when Simones was at the plate. Scream and find a way. But Lesh, even though he poked a single on a 2-strike count in the first game, trying to stay alive, he swings and misses on that one. Strikes out on back-to-back plate appearances. But now Caden Meyer, the right fielder, at the plate, had a single in his last plate appearance. He sees a pitch that goes high, and we have Meyer on Meyer violence, Leo.
We do. I like it, Oliver.
Oh, and an early steal, premature for the Buffaloes. Not sure what they're doing. Meyer in the dirt, now in a pickle. Simones is. He's being run down by Snyder. Oh, and it's back and forth, back and forth. He's trying to juke. He may get back to first base, and he does. Wow. Commendable for staying alive after what appeared to be a sneaky decision at first. Man. After
Really,
theatrics, we have nothing.
Really good patience there on Oliver. He just kept running, stayed the course, didn't give up on the play, and ultimately let Utah make a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough whenever you have a speedy runner in a pickle. You got to try and close down the distance to tag him out. But as you do that, whenever you get a slower guy and he can get around him, it's hard to retreat, and he's able to get back to first base. But now with Meyer at the plate, looking to do some damage. You see Willis running back to center field after trying to be a part of that pickle, and now that ball is high, and there's a 2-0 count. So, Meyer comes home to Meyer, and he sees a third ball. Hitters count doesn't look like Caden Meyer is going to swing. And he, even if he wanted to swing, he probably wouldn't have, as that one hits the dirt before home plate. Now the Buffs have 2 base runners down 5-0.
Third baseman,
And Tyler Gilmore, the third baseman, coming to the plate.
Yeah, Gilmore's going to have a little less pressure than maybe with 2 outs on the board, Oliver, but nonetheless, coming up, has opportunity to be a big hero for his team.
Gilmore, in his first showing of the day in this second half of the doubleheader, sees a strike after 4 straight balls from Meyer, but Utah has to be a little bit nervous after seeing 2 walks from their relief pitcher after 5 shutout innings from their starter, and now 2 straight strikes from Ryan Meyer. He's ahead with an 0-2 count on Tyler Gilmore.
He's focused. He's locked in.
Yeah, memory of a goldfish is always a good trait to have. Not sure if that applies to Meyer, but looks like it did there as he strikes out Tyler Gilmore on 3 straight pitches.
Just over the top of his bat on that one, Oliver. Looked like he was going to be able to clip it there for a second.
Yeah, some Buffs batters have been able to stay alive in some clutch situations earlier in the game, but not able to capitalize. And now Chase Ambio comes to the plate in place of Richie Biberoche, the designated hitter who had 2 strikeouts and 2 plate appearances. Chase Ambola, the pitcher who came in for the Buffaloes, now swings and misses as he looks to help himself.
Yeah, takes a lap around the plate there, resetting.
Now pitcher on pitcher violence, some different things, and that is fouled off Miller's mask and off to the backstop. Chase Ambol looks like he's thinking about it a little bit. Yeah, a little voice crack in the field. But now the 0-2 pitch. It is outside. He had a hoagie, bro. But now, swing and a miss, strike 3 for an looking strike 3. I was messing with my mute buttons on my interface, and it is an anticlimactic call and ending to the end of the 6th for the Buffaloes as they trail 5-0 to the Utah Utes.
That not what they wanted to do there at all. Oliver. That was definitely just a complete failure of a situation when you have 2 people on base. But nonetheless, back to the break.
Coach Deion Sanders called an emergency meeting after news broke, allowing his players to decide whether to practice on Monday. They did it for Dom.
Some of the players, this is the first time that they've dealt with losing someone. And you got to respect that. So I'm advising our coaching staff, we're going to push them on the field, but we're going to love them just as hard.
The Buffs will wear jersey patches this season to memorialize Ponder. They'll have him on their hearts for the fall, but forever remember him for the sanctuary they shared, football.
We got to be there for each other, got to keep working. We still got a goal, still got a mission, and this is just another why. You know, for some of the guys that, you know, maybe think that their why isn't as significant, stuff like that. That's your why now, you know.
Harrison Simeon, Scobuff Sports.
1, 2, 3, go! Let's go.
Thank you for that, Harrison. The women's basketball team is in the middle of an exciting Big 12 tournament run, and our Scobuffs crew made the trek to Kansas City this week. Here's our own Jake Chow with the latest.
Here from Kansas City, Missouri, it should really be called Upset City. You can see the bracket. So many higher seeds have fallen in the past 2 days. TCU and Colorado, the lone teams with byes to get wins in the past 2 days. Arizona State really getting a good upset against Iowa State yesterday. And Kansas State, one of the hottest teams in the tournament right now, broke a long-standing 3-point record and is the first 12 seed to make the Big 12 tournament.
Buffalo, number 30, Rip Lockhart.
We are back at Scott Carpenter Park for the final inning of the 3-game series between the Colorado Buffaloes and the Utah Utes. The Utes are leading this one 5-0 as Rip Lockhart is a new pitcher, the 5th pitcher on the mound for the Buffaloes in this ball game. And he pitched the ball to Josh Willis in his 4th plate appearance of this contest. Second pitch is inside. Dusts Willis off, and it is a ball. Buffs haven't given up a run over the last few innings, and honestly not too many hits, but this ball is laced maybe over the head of center fielder Kyle Ketchel-Viani, and it is. Willis is trying to stretch that into a double, and it looks like he will be able to get into second base standing up.
Talk about an announcer's jinx there, Oliver. I don't know if you should have thrown that stat out there right before that hit.
All right, well, talk about throwing stones from a glass house as you jinxed a homer earlier today, buddy. All right, now James Robert, the shortstop coming up to the plate. The man on second base, no outs. Looking to add some insurance for the Utah Utes, up 5-0 in the top of the 7th. Off speed from Lockhart. Catches the corner. Strike 1. So, Leo, unless something unforeseen happens in this ball game, looks like we'll be wrapping up this one pretty quickly. What do you plan to do in the next few hours?
Well, hoping to get to talk to some of the guys after this one, Oliver, break down what they had to say about the game and learn a little bit more about the sport of baseball from the club level.
Yeah, fair enough. It's always interesting to see the ins and outs of the different levels of collegiate sports, especially one that you don't know about as much. Like baseball, you're obviously know more for your football stuff, but that one is fouled off again by number 24, James Roberts. That's the second straight foul ball, and the first one looks like it clipped Grady Hopkin in the dugout, who's sitting on a bucket over there. He hopped around on 1 foot, looking like he might have got clipped, but an 0-2 count, and now an strikeout for James Roberts. He slams the bat. He is mad.
Yeah, very frustrated there on that one, Oliver. Up 5-0, but still shows a competitor spirit.
Fair enough. I mean, he had a single in his first at bat of today, but just must have not liked strike out on 3 straight pitches. But now on a 4th straight pitch from Lockhart, catches his own, and Owen Miller is down 0-1. Owen Miller just 1 of 3 from the plate today, but that one was a huge homer to left center field.
Yeah, it was. That ball got close to clipping him on that one, too.
Yeah, Lockhart with the sidearm delivery and throwing some junk. Couldn't get on top of that one and let the off-speed pitch dribble inside. But going back to off-speed, now this one down the right field or first base line. And Lockhart has an issue with it, isn't able to corral it. And Miller is able to have an infield single on a swinging bunt. And the Utah Utes have corners with just one out in the inning.
Yeah, look at the big man rumble up to first base on that one, Oliver. Really showcasing the athleticism and striding it out all the way.
I mean, he's done that a few times today. Even on some groundouts, he's gotten up the line, showing off that speed, which is rare for a catcher. Not a lot of catchers stuck behind the dish crouching can get active, but Miller has shown that he can. Now the pitch to Samuel Snyder. He's had a good ball game today.
He's trying to threaten a steal up there, Oliver. What are the chances you see him take one here?
I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, with a 5-0 lead, not necessarily looking to run into outs, but in a first and third situation, definitely could put on a first and third play and get the ball moving around the infield for the Buffaloes, who haven't had the finest game in the infield today, as it is put on display with a miss from Matthew Tunks at first base. And the Utah Utes extend the lead to 6-0 as Josh Willis comes in on an RBI single by Sam Snyder. So now with one out in the inning, but to 3 hits.
Really just a unfortunate position for Colorado to try to field that one. Definitely caught him off guard.
Yeah, hard hit ball. Tough place for the first baseman. And another hard ball hit down the third base line off the glove of Tyler Gilmore. The 7th run for the Utes comes in, being Owen Miller. And the Utes have some momentum against Rip Lockhart and the Buffs, as they have broken this one wide open if it wasn't already. And the Buffs crowd is rather silent as Scott Carpenter.
Putting the nail in the coffin in this one.
Yeah. Unless unforeseen rally comes in the bottom of the 7th, the Utes should be on their way to a victory, splitting the doubleheader and picking up a win in the 3rd game of this series. But before that happens, Elijah Grimman sees a strike from Rip Lockhart, who then bounces a pitch to a new catcher for the Buffaloes, number 27, Cole Wayne. And that pitch is high, now a 2-1 count for Grammons. Grammons, a righty, looking to do something at the plate, but a 3-1 count. Up 7 runs. It would be maybe a guess it if he swings, because at this point, I mean, you have enough cushion to try and do something, try and build some momentum after a tough day at the plate, but he'll not see a pitch that he can do something with and walks.
Yeah, base is loaded as you got Charlie Walker coming back up to the plate, Oliver. He just got to get something down, and it should be another run for Utah.
Yeah, Rip Lockhart he picked up the strikeout against James Roberts, the second batter of the inning, but now has surrendered 3 hits. And this ball popped up, finds some grass behind first base, and the Utes now get an 8th run of this ball game as Sam Snyder comes around to score. I wasn't sure if that one was going to fall, but it does, and the Utes now had some more insurance.
Yeah, again, right past that first base line, Oliver. It seems like Utah's had a little bit of success there this inning, but nonetheless, going up 8, like you said, if this one wasn't over already, it's going to be a hard comeback for Colorado.
Yeah, Matthew Tunks having a tough time at first base after being a pinch hitter, and now Nico Warren puts a bat on this one, puts it into left center, but center fielder Kyle Ketchlavani comes over. He's throwing to third base, but Warren picks up the sacrifice fly. Now 9-0 for the Utes.
Yeah, a little bit clapping coming from the Utah dugout now, Oliver.
Yeah, I mean they've done a lot of clapping and yelling in this game, deservedly so, with the 9 runs that they've put across. They've capitalized on some poor defensive mistakes by the Buffaloes, but they put bats on balls the whole afternoon. As Lockhart picks up a strike against Cody DeBeer, who has 2 hits and a homer in this ball game. But the Buffs, having gone through 5 pitchers, have not had an easy time against the Utes in the second half of this doubleheader. DeBeer now is a 1-1 count. Top of the lineup for the Utes with 2 outs. Ball is hit to first base. Tunks will try to beat DeBeer to the bag. He slides and gets there for the 3rd out of the inning. The Buffs surrender 4 runs in the top of the 7th and now go to the bottom of the final inning, looking to put together a huge run in hopes of trying to claim the second half of this doubleheader, but down 9-0. That'll be hard to do. Ain't that right, Leo?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to do, Oliver, any way you slice it. But as we get a little bit of country music to come and fade us out, we're going to send you all to a break.
Final. That will be a tough one because those 2 teams really go at it. But Arizona, with the depth that they had, their top 8, they had 2 starters in Anthony Del Orso and Toby Awaka moved to the bench this season due to the talent that they've brought in. And with the freshmen that they have and Brain Berries and Koa Pete, I mean, they are a heck of a team. And unfortunately, even though I like Kelvin Sampson and his legendary status with the Cougars, especially with their backcourt, and one of the best defensive players in the conference with JoJo Tugler, I have to give Arizona the edge and move them on to the championship, which now we'll look at. And somehow, some way, if the Buffs make it to the championship, I mean, I just have to say Godspeed for the Buffs, the black and gold. If they have to make it to the championship, whoever they take on, playing their 5th game in 5 days, I mean, they could be playing number 16 Utah. That would be a tough game, playing your 5th game in 5 days. But assuming that they would have to play the best team in the conference, the regular season Big 12 champions, the Arizona Wildcats, for the reasons I just named for why they would beat the Houston Cougars, one of the best teams in the country. That's why they would most likely handle the Buffs. But, I mean, we're going to see how Colorado can do against the Arizona Wildcats this Saturday at the CU Event Center at 9 p.m. I will be there doing my usual coverage, so check out my social media. But I believe that is all for this week's edition of Buff Banner, and I'll pass it back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks for that, Oliver. Now looking at this week's trivia question. The Buffaloes are playing number 2 ranked Arizona on Senior Day tomorrow. The last time that happened, Colorado and current assistant Evan Batty upset the Wildcats in a memorable February 2022 night. So, how many points did the mayor of Boulder score on his historic senior night? Stick around after the break to find out later in the show.
We are back at ScoBuff Sports for the bottom half of the final inning of Game 3 between the Colorado Buffaloes and the Utah Utes. The Utes hung 4 runs in the top half of this one to give them a 9-0 lead, looking like they're well on their way to a win in the second half of this doubleheader.
It's been a long afternoon for the Buffaloes here today, Oliver. They're just hoping they can maybe get a run on the board to make it respectable.
Yeah, Ryan Meyer now in his second inning on the mound. Had 3 strikeouts and 2 walks in his first inning of relief after 5 scoreless innings from Matthew Lebret. But now 2 straight balls to Lucas Komkowicz, the second baseman, who found a double in his second plate appearance of the day. Now in his third and a 2-0 count, looking to build some momentum for the Buffaloes, who need a huge number in this bottom half of the inning to try and pick up a win, which seems rather unlikely at this point, but a 3-0 count for Komkowicz. Meyer's fourth pitch is outside to Komkowicz, and it is a 4-pitch walk.
Flips the bat, takes off the straps, and he's heading over to first. Good start to the bottom of the 7th for Colorado.
Number 25.
Yeah, the Buffaloes, they've had some base runners, but haven't been able to do nothing with it. I don't think they've had a base runner even reach third base in this contest. But now Colin Dwyer at the plate, the left fielder, he struck out in his last appearance with a runner on, as Komkowicz had his double. But Dwyer looking to do something with it. And sees a strike that catches the inside corner, a fastball from Ryan Meyer. So Meyer, and Dwyer in this ball game between the two teams. Dwyer puts this into center field. This could stay in the air, and it doesn't. It gets down in front of Willis. And the Buffs now have 2 base runners to start the bottom of the 7th. And there's some claps and yelling from the Buffs, who are trying to build some momentum.
Yeah, that one just got a little bit in front of Willis there. He wasn't quite able to catch up to it of Oliver, but good job for Colorado.
And now Nathan Tunks at the plate. I believe I was calling him Matthew Tunks when he was at first base earlier in the inning, but now at the dish, looking to do something after walking, and he puts it into left field. That is at DeBeer, and he reels it in for the first out of the inning. That ball was hit hard, but hit right at DeBeer.
Yeah, DeBeer just in good position, Oliver. He's a good athlete there for the Utes. He's been having his name all over this game.
Yeah, definitely, especially with that home run ball. Put out at second base after struggling with a fly ball into left center field. And now getting the first out of the final inning for the Utah Utes. And now number 5, Kyle Ketchelavani at the plate for the Buffaloes. Sees a ball, ball in his first pitch of his 4th plate appearance. 0 for 3 on the ball game. And he sees a second strike ball. Meyer having some trouble trying to find the zone in the bottom half of this inning. He had 2 walks last inning, despite 3 Ks. And now another ball.
Yeah, best case scenario here, Oliver. Get sent to first base on a walk, and then you're going to have loaded up for Colorado.
Yeah, see if Ketchelavani has the green light on 3-0. I wouldn't expect him to be, even though that pitch catches the zone. Down 9-0. No reason to take any risks and try and do something special. Not like you can get 9 runs back on one swing. But on a 3-1 count, Ketchelavani will walk, and the bases will be juiced for the Buffaloes, as Ryan Meyer only has 1 out against the Buffaloes, who are looking to put their first run across as Finn Simones comes to the plate. He is 1 for 2 on the day with a walk. He had a single in his first plate appearance.
Yep.
But Meyer, with his threw him to work, but his back against the wall in a sense, throws a strike to Simones. And he is hoping that can get him back on track and keep him in the zone. Second pitch is high and away, though.
Timid to give an easy shot there, Oliver. You can't blame the guy when you have 3 men on base.
Yeah, definitely. But you also don't want to give a free one to the Buffaloes with another walk, but the swing and a miss on will look to be an off-speed. Simones is down in the count, 1-2.
Number 27, Cole Wayne, is on deck pinch hitting.
Simones looks at another ball, and now a 2-2 count for the shortstop in pinstripes.
Yeah, you got Cole Wayne waiting in the wings. He's just hoping that there's no outs here for Colorado so he can get up and help this team.
And a pitch outside, now a full count with the bases juiced for Simones. Meyer has been all over the plate in this bottom half of the inning so far. In a 3-2 count, Simones is just looking for a walk, looking to put something into the grass for the Buffaloes, but he gets a walk. And the Buffs get the first run of this second contest.
Yeah, Miller shakes his head on that one. He's been able to track a lot of these outside balls, but a couple of words to say to his pitcher.
And now
9-1 in this contest for the Utah Utes, but now Cole Wayne coming to the plate as a pinch hitter, the big man, looking to do some damage with the bases juice. And Utah is going to call a meeting at the pitcher's mound, looking to talk things over and hopefully calm Ryan Meyer down.
Yeah, Cole Wayne just looks like he hits nukes, Oliver. Would be no better time to come out and hit one than now.
Yeah, got the stash wearing number 27. The senior at 6'3", 200 pounds from California, hoping to put a barrel on the ball and keep the momentum going for the Buffaloes. But with 3 walks in the inning and now 5 in total for Meyer in the last 2 to only 4 outs, it may be best to not swing in this situation as the Buffaloes are still down 8 runs.
Yeah, until Meyer proves he's going to put one in the box here, Oliver, I wouldn't swing at all. Just keep taking whatever runs you can get.
Yeah, Wayne replaced Charlie Lesh at the catcher position last inning. Lesh has had a good first game, but then a tough second game, picking up 2 Ks and 0 for 3 performance. But Wayne at the dish, looking at another ball.
A lot of balls.
Yeah, no, a lot of balls in this one. Bottom half, as we've gone on and on about, Meyer can't find the zone, but does there, picking up a strike.
Yeah, I felt like ref almost just wanted to give him a gimme on that one.
I mean, that was a good pitch. Found the zone and picked up a strike, making a 3-1 count. Hitters count still, and now a ball. It doesn't matter. And he walks in a second straight run. You see the pitcher's coach walking out to the bump, and with nobody warming up in the bullpen, it looks like there may be some new skin going up on the bump, but they'll have to see.
We realized like just now that we've been saying with the other.
But number 12, Caden Meyer, coming to the plate, the right fielder for the Buffs, coming to the plate. He has reached base in his last 2 plate appearances, 1 for 2 on the day with a walk. Had a single in the 4th inning.
In stride.
Yeah, he was in stride before he even crossed the plate.
Leo, a tough time for Meyer trying to find the zone. What do you think they said to their pitcher trying to get him to lock in, given the fact that they have 7 runs to work with in a 9-2 ball game?
Yeah, you're just telling them take a breath. You hear that, Oliver? New pitcher.
Yeah, Brady Brown, a new pitcher. That 26 is mighty close to a 28 from this far away.
12,
That's what they came to tell us at the meeting. But
yeah.
Caden Meyer now facing Brady Brown. Apologies for messing that up. But either way, can't find the zone. Three walks, despite no matter what his name is. And Caden Meyer, the right fielder, is looking to keep the energy going for the Buffaloes.
Yeah, Meyer definitely wanted his name clear on that one, Oliver, of all these balls. But looking at this one, could be a huge opportunity for Colorado.
Now a swing and a miss on an outside pitch. A 1-2 count with 1 out and the bases juiced in the bottom of the 7th. Oh, Meyer looking at a ball, and it is going to be a 2-2 count after 4 pitches. The Buffs are barking from the third base dugout, hoping to give their teammates some motivation.
They are, Oliver. They could feel a sense that if they can just get one out of here.
That ball has some air under it. DeBeer backing up. He's had some trouble with some balls, and that looks like it would be a good sac fly for the Buffaloes, making it a 9-3 ball game, but outs are not what the Buffs are looking for. Now down 6 in the bottom of the 7th. They are now down to their final out and need to find somehow 6 runs without any mistake.
Very improbable, Oliver, but never impossible here at Scott Carpenter Field.
Yeah, that is definitely true. I mean, Brady Brown has had a tough time finding the zone, but the Utes, with no one in the bullpen, are looking to stick with their right-hander on the bump so far, even though he has runners on the corners for the Buffs. The runner from first base goes, and he will pick up the stolen base, even though Miller tried to throw it down there to get him. Miller didn't really have a chance at at getting and why can't I find his name? Cole Wayne, excuse me. On that one.
Yeah, not really at all, Oliver, but good job on him being aggressive and going out, sliding, and remaining on base.
And now Tyler Gilmore at the plate, struck out in his last at-bat. An 0-for-3 performance, but now this curveball behind him.
Well, we've seen balls far to the right, and now we've seen one completely around the left, Oliver, everywhere but the strike box.
Strike box. And now another ball from Brown. 3-1 count for Gilmore. Another hitter's count. A lot of those in this bottom half of the 7th, as the Utes have given up 3 runs. Now only leading by 6, but gets a strike, making it a full count. The Buffs down to their final strike, with runners on second and third, 9-3, trailing the Utes in Game 3 of this series. Payoff pitch is driven. That ball may be gone. That ball is headed toward the fence, and that is out of here. A 3-run shot from Tyler Gilmore. His first hit of the game, and is now a 9-6 ball game.
Well, this one's not over, Oliver. It's been a long afternoon, but Colorado has all the momentum in the world, and Brady Brown is up there all alone with no one to relieve him.
Yeah, you can say that. Brady Brown is, all alone. The third baseman is coming to console him, but the Utes have no one in the bullpen, and after 6 runs given up in the 7th, the Colorado Buffaloes have a bunch of momentum. They've been barking from the dugout the whole bottom half of this inning, and Tyler Gilmore absolutely tattooed that ball over the 353-foot sign out there in left center. That had to be close to 380, 390, maybe even 400 mark.
Yeah, that one might have hit all the way into Folsom Field from here. You never know, Oliver.
I'm not sure about Folsom, but heads up to those skaters. Hopefully they're wearing helmets. And now the Buffs, with no runners on for the first time in quite a while in this inning, have a pinch hitter at the plate. Rip Lockhart looking to help himself after a tough top half of this inning where the Buffs surrendered 4 runs. He's looking to do something for his team after giving up some of those runs. And now a chopper to third base. Hopkins coming in to throw over to first. It is in the dirt, but Samuel Snyder with the pick, and the Utah Utes will win this ballgame 9-6 despite a 6-run bottom half of the 7th inning for the Colorado Buffaloes. Leo, that was pretty boring for quite a bit, and then all of a sudden it turned into something.
It was the adrenaline spike right there at the end. Colorado looked like he was be able to come pick on Brady Brown for the final inning and maybe sneak out a W here, but nonetheless, the better team prevailed. Utah Utes did a really good job today all around, Oliver.
Yeah, I'd say the MVP of the ball game was Matthew Lebret. Only gave up 2 hits through 5 innings, shutting out the Buffs through that stretch. And then in the 7th, the Buffs got going, putting up 6 runs, capitalized with a 3-run shot. However, 9 runs from the Utes, 2 homers, one of which from Cody DeBeer, the other from Owen Miller, the catcher, who spent all day behind the plate for the Red and White.
Yeah, 9 runs was just too much there, Oliver. If they were able to keep that, in the 5 to 7-ish range, it would have made this game definitely more probable towards the end there. But nonetheless, it was a fantastic one here at Scott Carpenter Park.
Yeah, and so the Buffs, at least have something to smile about, picking up 1 win on the day, and then ending this game with somewhat of an energy jolt. Maybe one for Rip Lockhart to forget about, as he gave up 4 runs in the top of the 7th, allowing this one to get just out of reach for the Buffaloes. Ended up putting up 6 runs in the bottom of the 7th, and then he grounded into the final out of the ball game. So a tough one for number 30. And the Buffaloes, they lost the second ball game, but still a lot of baseball left to go in this season. A bunch of home games, especially across this next week on some weekdays, Wednesday and Friday. I'll be in Kansas City for the men's basketball Big 12 tournament. But Leo, were you thinking of popping out to Scott Carpenter for some more baseball?
I think I might just do that, Oliver. And as we have Green Onions blasting over the speakers here into the crowd, I think that's a good segue to go ahead and wrap this one up and say thank you to all who tuned in today for the broadcast.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone who tuned in to the Scobuff Sports broadcast of the doubleheader between the Colorado Buffaloes and the Utah Utes. The Buffs won the first ball game, while the Utah Utes won the second. My name is Oliver Hayes. I finished up play-by-play on this one. Leopoldo Rivera, the fourth, was on color commentary to end this. Paxton Haynes spent time on play-by-play earlier in this one, as well as Matthew Spivak. Nick Evans was producing this one. Almost went Nick Ovens mode, throwing it back for
Yeah, and
for
Ryan
Scobo
Donziger on
Sports.
camera.
Ryan Donziger on camera. Of course, Kieran Warger, excuse me. I'm trying to remember all the names. Coming in for relief on the camera after coming from lacrosse. Harrison Simeon came in for a brief second. And that's the dream team that put together the production that we brought to Scobo Sports YouTube today, and we are signing off with a You Heard It Here first.
Greer was named to the All Big 12 freshman team.
Looking at Colorado's men's basketball, sophomore forward Sebastian Ranchik will probably miss the Buffs' senior day contest against number 2 ranked Arizona on Saturday, according to head coach Tad Boyle. The Boulder Daily Camera's Pat Rooney reported that the skilled Slovakian suffered an injury during practice just before the Buffs beat Utah in Salt Lake City on Tuesday night. While Boyle said Ranchik was day-to-day after the game, not disclosing the injury, he said the 6'10" forward will probably miss the contest against the Wildcats when asked at Thursday's practice. With Ranchik averaging 12 points and just over 5 rebounds per game, playing nearly 30 minutes per game, his absence is one to look out for developing Buffalo's front court.
Thank you, guys. The men's Hoopers seemed to have things under wraps at halftime against Utah on Tuesday night. However, a 26-point lead was not enough for Colorado to cruise through the second half. The Utes fought until the final buzzer, cutting the deficit to single digits multiple times. Guard Terrence Brown led the charge for Utah, scoring a game-high 26 points. The men's final game of the regular season, meanwhile, might be its toughest. The Buffaloes hosted number 2 Arizona Wildcats on Saturday night. The Wildcats recently clinched the regular season Big 12 title and have not lost a game in 3 weeks. The freshman duo of Braden Burries and Koa Pete have dominated all season and will look to spoil Colorado's senior night. The Buffs have their work cut out for them in their last game before the Big 12 tournament.
Speaking of the Big 12 tournament, our very own Oliver Hayes is ready to break down the Black and Gold's chances come next week.
Hey. My name is Oliver Hayes, and welcome back to this week's edition of Buff Banner. And happy Jason Tatum Day to all those celebrating. But looking at the Colorado men's basketball team's chances in the Big 12 tournament, a path to the Big 12 where they could punch their ticket to March Madness. It seems to be the only way that they could do so given the season that they've had. Let's take a look at what they could do in Kansas City next week. So far with the current standing, the Buffs are set to be the 11th seed in the Big 12 tournament, and right now they're set to play number 14 seed Baylor. Out of all the teams that the Buffs could have played between I believe it was Oklahoma State and Kansas State, Baylor was the tough pull of those three, given that the Bears beat up the Buffs in Waco earlier this season by quite a number of points. I believe it was 19 in that one due to the scoring array that the Bears have. So a tough matchup for the Buffs in the first round, but they're looking to get revenge. The Buffs have been playing well down the stretch of this season, and having played some of the better teams in the conference, I'm sure that with their front court, even though Sebastian Ranchik is dealing with an injury, may be able to handle the smaller Bears. Now, if we look at the second weekend where the Buffs will have to face number 6 TCU, they have a much better matchup there, just personnel-wise, from the guards to the big men, where TCU kind of lacks. The Buffs match up quite well. Both teams have six-foot guards in the backcourt, and I think this could be a very fun game, even though the Horned Frogs did not really bring it in the game in Boulder earlier this season where the Buffs crushed them. And so for this game, the Buffs will need to do a lot of what they did in Boulder. They're going to need to look to push the pace, and even though they won't have the altitude, they'll need to bring the energy themselves and rely on the depth, especially through the young guys. Looking at the other games, I believe the higher seeds in the first round will win the majority of those games, and so that's why I have West Virginia, BYU, and Arizona State moving on to the second round along with the Buffs. Then you look at the third round. That's where you have the double-bye teams, the top 4 seeds in the conference, the top 4 in the Big 12 that look to make national championship runs come March Madness time. You have number 1 seed Arizona, number 2 Houston, number 3 Texas Tech, and number 4 Kansas. Looking at the CU Texas Tech game, I believe that's the best poll that the Buffs could get. They made it a game in Boulder and with a crazy second half comeback, erasing a near 24-point lead that Texas Tech had at the half. And the Buffs only lost by 2, and some may look at the refs due to that one. But given that the Buffs had that performance in Boulder against the Red Raiders, even though they got blown out in Lubbock the second time around. The Red Raiders do not have JT Toppin, and while they have momentum, the Buffs can put together a somewhat feasible performance, even though Luke Bamgoye, coming off the bench, has made an impact in the starting lineup. So a tough poll for the Buffs, but of the top four that the Buffs could have faced, I believe that the Texas Tech Red Raiders are who the Buffs would want to see come that third round, playing their third game in 3 days. Look at the other rounds. I believe Cincy's front court is better than West Virginia's, moving them on to that third day along with the Buffs. I believe UCF is a more well-rounded team with a better front court than BYU, especially after Richie Saunders tore his ACL against the Buffs earlier this season. And looking at Iowa State versus Arizona State in that second round, I believe TJ Otzelberger and the Cyclones will take it to day 3 to take on the Kansas Jayhawks along with the Buffs. Now, let's look at the semifinal round and seeing what the Buffs can do there. After the Buffs potentially beat the Texas Tech Raiders, that's a big potentially, I believe they will go on to take on the Kansas Jayhawks. I think the Jayhawks, given Bill Self's history, even though TJ Otzelberger is a great coach, has a great system that he's employing, given the reason that Iowa State has been so great the last few seasons, I believe Bill Self and the Jayhawks